Hey guys, it's Bren. I know it's been a while. I haven't had that much to talk about. Life isn't that exciting. This terrible, terrible thing happened. And just a little warning before we get started, I'm going to be cussing a lot in this video. Probably more than normal because this fucking situation is stressing me out. I just finished a candle video. First video I've done in a long time. Had to go get a glass of wine for this because we are about to get into some bullshit. So the reason that I've decided to even do a video on this is not because I think any of you want to listen to me gripe about the situation, and I'm not even really asking for sympathy at this point. I mean, I know that shit happens all the time, and this is very first world problems and all of that, but I do need to vent, so that'll be nice. Mainly, though, as I'm going through what I'm going through right now, so many of my friends are like, wow, I never knew that, like, you could get in an accident and it's not your fault and you could still get so screwed. You know, I thought if I ever got in an accident and it wasn't my fault, my insurance company would take care of me and all this stuff. And so I have all these friends who are like, I'm going to call up my agent and see what my plan is and what would happen if this happened to me. And like, yes, do that. Learn from my mistakes. Because this has been terrible. First of all, if you know me, you know I loved my car. I loved my car. Blue and I, that was her name. I've always named my cars. My car I had before that was named Sunny. But Blue, and when I got Blue, I was very sad about losing Sunny. But Sunny was dilapidated. The trunk was broken. She was leaking brake fluid and transmission fluid. I mean, it was time to go. But Blue was a great car. So back in 2012, my uncle passed away. I inherited some money, and I was like, okay, I need a car. Like, I was teaching. I had the worst car in the parking lot. The students all had better cars than me, and I discovered pretty quickly that with Hondas, they hold their value pretty well, and to get a used one, it wasn't that much less expensive than to get a new one. And so even though my family, like, they never bought new cars or anything, like, I bought her new. And at the end of the year, so I got a little bit of a deal, maybe. I don't know. Maybe I got screwed. But between 2012 and 2018, about the same time of the year, so I had her for 6 years, and we put on 110,000 miles together, which is a lot. I drive a lot, people, which is why when I say I've only had 2 speeding tickets in my entire life and I have never been in an accident that's been my fault, it's even more amazing than for someone else who'd been driving for 30 years to say that, because I've probably driven as much in my 30 years as some people drive in their entire lives. I am a road warrior for work and for pleasure. You know, I took Blue to Texas and back. I took her to Canada and back. I took her to Ohio many, many times. And I loved to drive. And I would always offer to drive when I was going anywhere with my friends and stuff, you know. I loved my car. I loved to drive. And that was a good car. Hondas are good cars. Blue would have lasted me another 10 years. I know it. We never had any issues. I got regular maintenance, always at the dealership, always on time. And aside from like brakes and oil changes, like she never needed anything. The last time I went, they were starting to say like, because you hit 100,000 miles, here are some things that we recommend. But like, she was running great. And I have been in my life, I've been in 4 accidents. No, if you count one where I wasn't driving. So I got rear-ended once in Sunny. Totally not my fault. I was rear-ended. I remember I was just sitting still and somebody just came up and hit me. That one I was pretty young. My dad helped me figure that one out, I think. Then I got in a pretty bad accident at the community college here, locally in town, after it was finals week, and I was exiting the parking lot. Now, this was in Blue. I'm exiting the parking lot, and I have I'm on the main road out of the parking lot, and all the crossroads are yields. And someone just T-bones me. They're just flying across the parking lot through the yield. They had the yield. Boom, we hit. And it's the front of my car into the side of their car. And the airbags go off. This is the second time in my life. Now it's been 3 times that I've been hit with an airbag. Most people I know have never been hit with an airbag. This was my 3rd time. But going back to this other accident that happened, I got T-boned, and I was able to get out of the car, and then I looked at the other girl, and she was saying, I can't open my door. And I was like, okay, hang on. She wasn't dead. So I looked around, and it was a barren parking lot being finals week. There was one girl sitting in her car, and she was just like she had seen the whole thing. So I went right up to her, and I said, will you please stay and be a witness? And she did. But that was the first thing in my mind. Because with me, if there's an accident and it's not my fault, I would rather have a cracked rib and a broken arm than someone try to blame me for something that wasn't my fault. So the first thing after I'm like, oh, you're alive? Okay, hang on. I'm going to go secure a witness. And in that situation, I think I was able, even though the airbags went off and the seatbelt deployed and everything, I was able to drive the car to my house where it sat for a week while I waited for her insurance to take fault. She had gotten the ticket, not me. And then I went all through that person's insurance for everything. But because of that, I had to wait until they accepted fault before I could get a rental car, before they started working on it, before anything. Fixed it up. We were back on the road. I also got, and that time I wasn't injured, even though the airbag went off, and it fucking hurts when you get hit with an airbag. I don't think I actually felt like sore or had bruises or anything that I can remember. I also got hit in a different community college parking lot where I was just sitting waiting to exit and someone just backed into me. They must not have had a backup camera. I was literally just sitting there, and it was a student driver with a permit with her parents, and it just scuffed my car a little, and I was like, fuck this. It happened at like 9:30 at night after a long fare, and I had to get up early the next day, and I was like, I'm not waiting for a cop. So I just took their info and was like, forget it, and they sent me $200. Because like they actually called their insurance, and their insurance lady called me and blah, blah, blah. And I sent a picture, and I was like, you know what? I just don't even want to deal with this. Just have them give me $100. And they sent me $200. So they were nice, honest people who felt really bad their teenage driver just backed into me. But that had happened. And then now the other time that I got hit with an airbag, the first time I ever got hit with an airbag, I was in the passenger seat of my ex-husband's car the first night we met. He had very bad night vision, and he hit a median, and the airbags went off, and it burned me. I got burned all down my chin, and I had this big scab. But that was what happened there. So yeah, 3 airbags, 4 accidents where I was driving, never been in an accident that's been my fault. And that brings us up to this accident, which also happened in a community college parking lot. Fuck community college parking lots. This is my job, though. I'm in transfer admissions for a university. Every day, Monday through Thursday at least, I go to community colleges. That's my gig. But there are all these young, unexperienced drivers, and it's especially if you hit a passing period, everybody's coming in to go to class at once. They're late for class. Everybody's getting the fuck out of there at one time. And that's what happened. So we have an office at this one community college, and I had been in it all day, and I went to lunch, and I was coming back from lunch. And I was getting back at about 1:50, and it was a passing period, so all these cars were coming out of the parking lot. And so, of course, I had a full tank of gas, which I've lost now. And it's a T stop. So it's, there's one cross street, and then to exit the parking lot, there's a stop sign. So there's a kid, and he's at where he should have a stop sign. And as I approach the intersection, I'm on the straightaway, and I'm going to turn left into the parking lot that he is exiting. But as I approach the intersection, I see that he has overshot his stop sign by at least a car length, a half a car length. Like most of his car was past the stop sign. And so to get around him, even though he had to yield to me, I would have had to really make a big turn. So as I approach, I'm just like, what is this asshole doing in the middle of the intersection? And I come to a stop at least a couple car lengths behind the intersection because I'm like, what is he going to do? What is he doing? And as I come to a stop, here comes a car from the other direction, opposite me. So he would have had to yield to both of us. He's got one on each side. And I have to yield to that car because I'm making the left turn and they're going straight. So I'm stopped because this guy's in the middle of the intersection. And then all of a sudden, here comes the other car and he just decides to go. And for a split second, within my mind, all within this amount of time, that much time, half a second, I think, what is this kid doing? Oh my God, he's going to hit that other car. Holy shit, they're going to hit me. And it was like boom, boom, boom. And I had just enough time to go and kind of go like this. I sort of tried to, it was just, it all happens so fast. There was nothing that I could have done. Everything that I could have done, I did, which was be defensive driver and not pull all the way up to that intersection because I could see that this kid didn't know what he was doing. I figure, sorry, everything's blown up here. I figure that he must have been looking right at me, knowing that he had to yield to me, but also that he was in the middle of the intersection, so he better get out of the way, saw that I was gonna stop, so he decided to go because he was turning left and just didn't look right. Or left. Didn't look to his left at all because he was looking to the right at me. And just, it was almost like he tried to hit her. I mean, he just, boom, like he stepped on it right as she was there. And so he hit the side of her and sent her, again, another young, inexperienced, lesser experienced driver. She probably was veering left a little bit to get around him anyway since he was hanging out. But he slams into the side of her and she just plummets into me. Had it not been for that car, had she not been coming the other way, this kid would have been in the wrong. He would have been cutting me off. He would have been blowing his yield. He would have been a dick. But we wouldn't have hit because I was watching what was going on. But this other car came and there was just nothing. So she hits right into my front, like, driver's side corner. And it's just, if you've never seen, I can still see it in my head. If you've never had a car just fucking flying at you, it's scary as hell. But because I had been through this before, I knew my airbags were going to go off. I knew there was nothing I could do but just look down and gotta be like, fuck, here it comes. Airbags go off. Curtain airbag goes off too. Hondas, they're safe, but they got hair trigger airbags. And every airbag that goes off is like $1,500. At least that curtain one is probably more. I didn't need that fucking curtain airbag, and that was the difference between my car being totaled and not totaled. I'm sure of it. So we hit. My first thought again, maybe I'm such a bitch or I'm just selfish. I did make sure everyone's alive, everyone's okay, and then I'm like, okay, nobody's dead. Hey, girl over there, did you see this? Stop. First thing I do, I get out of the car, I see that the other two kids are standing up, so I'm like, nobody's dead, fine, and then I flag down the first person I see who's looking at us. And I'm like, did you see it? And she's like, yes. I'm like, please stay and be a witness. So she was like, okay, sure. But then it turned out that she knew the guy who caused it. They were like coming out of the same class. Maybe they were friends. But I think she was honest. The first thing she said to me after, are you okay, was, holy shit, you were just sitting there. And I'm like, yeah, I was just fucking sitting there. Need a wine break. Okay. So I secure a witness. And then we're all standing there, and the kid who blew the stop sign or whatever, yeah, I guess he blew a stop sign, he's like, I'm sorry. Like, he knows it's his fault. You know, everybody always says, don't admit fault. But, like, come on. But he doesn't say much else. And then somebody calls the community college police, who, some community colleges, like the last time I got hit in a community college parking lot, those police took care of it. These police just directed traffic while the real police came. So we had to wait for that. I'm all worried about, like, getting stuff out of my car that I need. My office is my car. I have boxes and boxes of shit in there that I need every day for work. I know that my car is getting towed. My car is getting towed. The girl who was coming the other direction's car is getting towed. Guess whose car's not getting towed? The kid who blew the stop sign. His car is pretty much fine. His bumper is scuffed. The real bad impact was her and I hitting head on. He drove away from the whole thing, right? So I'm standing on the curb while the cops are talking to the boy with the girl. And I just say something like, man, what a day. And she says, well, at least nobody got hurt. And I'm like, bitch, you 18. That's why you don't give a fuck about this. You're driving your dad's car. It's me and Pedro that are going to have to deal with all of this. Me and Pedro aren't all like, at least everybody's okay, because we're the ones who are going to be on the phone with the insurance company hour after hour, getting the rental car, getting the iPass switched to the rental car, calling the body shop, calling the tow truck, going to get shit out of the car, all of that. And in the end, you know, everybody keeps saying, at least you're okay. At least you're okay. And I have sort of started to want to punch everyone who says that. Yes, I'm glad that I'm not, you know, majorly injured, you know, brain damage or anything like that. But this whole thing would be a hell of a lot better if I had like a cracked rib or a broken arm. Because I tell you what, at least then you get some money for your troubles. Instead, don't ever get totaled unless you also get a little hurt. Because then you're just going to get fucked. And that's what's happening to me. I was really bruised. I had a real bad seatbelt bruise that I can't show you guys because it's in a sensitive area, but it still hurts. It hurts right now while I'm touching it. I'm just fucking like purple boob, okay? And then additionally, I had bruises all up on my arm, all up my leg. My eye, this eye was all swollen, and I had a bruise on my eyelid I was wearing sunglasses, and the airbag just hit the sunglasses into my face. Strangely, the sunglasses are still okay, but my eye was all swollen. But you know, nothing that I needed to go to the doctor for. The anxiety, on the other hand, through the roof. And I thought that the worst day of it all was the day that I got hit. I was keeping it together. I mean, I was standing on the curb waiting for the police to come give us the police report, thinking nobody better try to pin this on me. This was so not my fault. You know, but just having to wait to make sure it officially isn't my fault. And have my mom drive to pick me up an hour away from where I live. My car gets towed to a place an hour away from where I live. And then I'm on the phone with the insurance for a good 90 minutes. I actually looked at the phone call when I got off the phone. I think it was a 95-minute phone call. And then off to the rental car place to pick up the rental car. Like I said, the first time that I got hit, I went through the other people's insurance. But this time I was like, I can't wait for that. I need a rental car right away. So I went through my insurance, and then my insurance seeks to get reimbursed from their insurance when they're officially found at fault. So, you know, all of that. I get the rental car, and it was like the next morning, my insurance called me for my recorded statement. So I give my recorded statement. I'm like, you know, I'm missing work for all of this and everything, just a little bit. But then it was the littlest thing that I kept it together, and I kept it together. And it was trying to call up the Illinois Tollway Authority to figure out how to get my little pass that pays your tolls transferred to the rental car. And they gave me this response that made no sense. And that is what made me start crying. Like the littlest thing, but it was just like my nerves were shot. They were fried. And so then I'm driving this rental that it's weird and I'm not used to it. And every time someone goes by me, every time someone's weaving in traffic, every time anything, brake lights, I'm like, what are they doing? Because you realize how much just everyone else is an asshole. I tell you what, I'm getting a dash cam, and you should get a dash cam. They are like, you can get one for like $60 on Amazon, or you can get a more expensive fancy one that has like a rear view too, and I'm fucking doing that. Because I'm not going to take my chances. I've been lucky that none of the accidents have been my fault, and no one has ever tried to make it my fault because it's so obviously not my fault. But eventually, I will get into an accident where someone tries to pin it on me when it's not my fault. And that shit happens every day. Get a dash cam. In Russia, everybody has a dash cam, apparently. I feel like it should be standard in cars. It's kind of stupid not to have one. Why not have one? They're so cheap. I'm totally getting one. I'm afraid to drive without one now. So that's happening. I've already been looking into it. I've got to narrow down to like 2. Dash cam it up. It could pay off thousands and thousands of dollars and a whole lot of hassle down the road. Because like I said, my worst fear is getting into an accident like this and having it like falsely blamed on me when it's not my fault. But it's almost more frustrating in this case that it's not my fault and I'm losing my car. So I have to deal for a couple of days with where is my car? Who do I take it to get serviced? Go to the insurance company's recommended place. It's still an hour away from where I live. So then I have to go out there to get some things out of it because I left my garage remote in the car and whatever. I go see my car at this body shop. Poor Blue, she looks so sad. You know, she got one flat tire, so she's just on the ground on that corner. And I'm so sad. I just want to cry because I'm like emotional because I love my car. And the guy's like, yeah, you better take your plates and everything too if you live an hour away because I've been working in this industry for 10 years and I'm pretty sure it's totaled. And I'm like, no, I don't want that. I don't want it to be totaled. Are you serious? And he's like, well, I tell you what, it's going to be borderline, but with the airbags going off, it's most likely definitely going to be totaled. So I'm just a mess, right? I don't hear anything the next day, and I call up my insurance adjuster, and I just want to ask her, like, what happens if it is totaled? Because I can't stop thinking about it, and I can't just wait anymore. And I break down in tears on the phone. I'm fucking using her as a therapist. I'm just like, I love that car. I don't want it to be totaled. What happened? She's just like, well, we don't know yet. We don't know. We don't have a quote from the body shop. We don't know yet. We'll just have to wait and see. I've never talked to her again. She has never called me again. I probably scared her to death. Nope. Instead, the next call I get is from the total loss adjuster, because it's a whole nother person that deals with it when your car is totaled. The estimate to fix my car was $8,129. And fucking Allstate thinks my car is only worth $7,261. Fuck you. Kelley Blue Book for my car, not in excellent condition, not in very good condition, just in good condition. And that's all there is. Below that is fair. And it was definitely good. I went through the whole big checklist. The interior was perfect. I took such good care of that car, right? Good condition for my car with 110,000 fucking miles on it was still median price for private seller. Like if you went on Craigslist and bought that car, or bought that car from Joe Schmo down the street, or saw it advertised in the newspaper, private seller middle was $7,700. So they were $500 under that, and the high end was $86,000. Now, Kelley Blue Book cost to buy that car from a dealer over $9,000. You would think that if you get hit and it's not your fault, that you should get the money that you need to go buy the exact same car. And not from Joe Schmo down the street, but from a dealer. But no, fuck no, that's not what happens. They give you what they call cash value for your car, which is supposedly what I would get for just trading it in or selling it to a junkyard, which is bullshit because, again, I would have driven that car for 10 more years. I didn't have a car payment. I can't afford a car payment. Now I'm going to have a fucking car payment. But here's the fun thing. So, according to the state of Illinois, because I've been on the phone with the state of Illinois Insurance Consumer Protection Bureau as well, because I have spent nothing, my whole life, the past 2 weeks has just been spent on the phone. My insurance, or the insurance, has to pay the value of what they say is the value of my car, plus tax on a car of the equivalent amount, plus fees. But they only pay the DMV fee. When you go to buy a new car, there's a whole lot of other fees on top of that. But they only pay the tax and the fee if you prove that you've bought another car within 30 days. But there's still a bunch of other fees. There's transferring fees, like to transfer your plates. There's government fees associated with buying a car. There's all these other fees. So if they give me $7,261, they say that's what your shitty car is worth, here's what we're going to give you. Which, first of all, is bullshit, way below Blue Book, and my car is worth more than that. But even if I went out and I bought another car for exactly $7,261, I would still be paying money for all the fucking fees when it's not my fault. That's crazy to me. That doesn't make any sense. And this is what all my friends are saying. They're all saying, like, man, I thought if I got hit and it wasn't my fault, like, I would be taken care of, that I would be made whole again. You know, if life was fair, another 2012 Civic with 110,000 miles on it would just appear in my fucking driveway and I wouldn't have to pay anything, right? Having to go through the stress of dealing with this is bad enough. And that's why I say, if you're gonna get totaled, break a fucking arm, because then, I mean, you wouldn't believe the next day after the accident, I was getting shit in the mail from lawyers being like, are you hurt? Are you hurt? Are you hurt? But they don't want anything to do with suing an insurance company just because they're not valuing your car high enough. They don't want anything to do with that. They only want to take your case if you're making like $10,000, $15,000. So I know that everyone on Instagram was meaning well when they were asking me if I had gotten a lawyer, looked into a lawyer. I did actually. I have a friend who used to work at a law firm. I did talk to some people. I even emailed the lawyer. No. Nobody is going to take your case unless you're hurt and you have some hospital bills. Now, my mom got in a car accident and broke her collarbone, and someone else was at fault, and she got a lot of money from that. Paid for my wedding. And that's what I'm saying. If you're gonna get totaled, you know? Otherwise, it's just hell. So, the first guy who calls me with the $7,261, his name is Seth. And, he catches me at a bad time. A bad fucking time. He tells me that that's what they're going to give me. And I say, that's fucking bullshit, Seth. I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? Do you know what I've been through this week? I mean, this wasn't my fault. This couldn't be less my fault. I'm out of fucking wine. Couldn't be less my fault. And you're telling me that you're only going to give me that, which is way below Blue Book. And he's like, okay, I'm going to put down that you disagree with our valuation. And we'll have to send it off to another department. Right now, what I can do is I can extend your rental car through Tuesday. And I'm like, fucking Tuesday? You told me I had it for 30 days. No, you had it for up to 30 days, but I can only extend it for you through Tuesday. And this was on Thursday. And I'm thinking I had 30 days with the rental car. Fuck no. They could take it away at any moment to make you take their stupid offer, right? If you need that check to buy a new car, then they're going to pressure you into taking that check. Luckily, I'm not in that situation. I can dig into my savings and pay myself back and get a new car sooner than that. But, yeah, that's their tactic. That's what they try to do. I'm just on the phone. I'm like, look, Seth, you fucking know that if you give me $7,261, I'm not going to be able to go out there and buy a car that's the same. And he's like, well, we have a list of cars that we have come up with this number by, because this is what they do. They look for other cars for sale in your area, compare those cars to what you had, and come up with an average. But none of the cars that they found had the miles that my car had. So they found several cars that were 2012 Civic EXs just like mine, but they only had like 60,000 miles, but they were for sale for like $13,000. And then they would say, and the equivalent for 110,000 miles is only $5,000. It's bullshit. It's bullshit how they come up with this formula. They basically gave me a list of 10 cars that were all the same year, but had way less miles and were for sale for way more money, but then said that the equivalent of a car with 70,000, 80,000 miles selling for $13,000 is for 110,000 miles, $7,261. It's such bull. It's so stupid. It's not. And then they try to give me the third party line. Well, we have a third party non-biased company come up with this figure. Oh, really? A third party company that only works for Allstate? Just you guys. It's probably the same fucking people. They just put a different name on it so they can call it a third party company. So I give Seth a piece of my goddamn mind, and he is pissed by the end of the conversation. I don't give a fuck. So then this weekend, I get a different guy who calls me. You know, I get moved up the chain to the difficult customer guy. This guy's a lot more professional. You know, he uses a soothing tone. You know, the kind of guy that you'd feel kind of bad yelling at, and I don't even fucking care. So he's the one who explains to me that I'm trying to do what I can do for you based on the plan that you had. But the plan that you have is just basic collision, which means that we can only give you cash value for your car, not replacement value. Now you see all these Allstate commercials that are advertising now, like, oh, you get in an accident, you get totaled, you get new car replacement, you get the amount of money that it would cost you to buy the new one, and you got to pay exorbitant amounts for those premiums. But apparently there's also something called replacement value that you can pay a little more for. Whereas my plan was just this fucking cash value bullshit that they're trying to throw at me. I had no control over this. I'm going to be real with you guys. I'm on an insurance plan with my parents, and my parents are cheap as fuck. So, you know, I know my dad, he was going to go for the cheapest plan, the cheapest premiums. And now to think that we probably could have been paying something like $5 more a month, and I would have like a lot more money for my car right now. I used to be on my own insurance. Well, I was on with my ex-husband, then we got divorced. Then I was on my own for a while, and then it was like so expensive that when I bought the car, you know, we found out that I could be on with my parents if my mom was on the title of the car. So we put her on the title of the car with me, and I've been on their insurance. And now everyone who's calling me, literally everyone, is calling me my mom's name because they just don't understand that she's the policyholder, but I was fucking driving the car and it was my car. So my recommendation to all of you is to find out what you have. Call your insurance agent and ask what would happen to me if I was in an accident that wasn't my fault and my car was totaled. Because it's probably going to be some shit. I have heard nothing but horror stories from people that this has happened to. No one said, oh, I got totaled and I got tons of money, unless they got hurt and sued. Because your insurance company doesn't take care of you. I thought that, it wasn't my fault. My insurance company was going to fight for me because they don't have to pay for it. Like, they could say my car was worth 10 grand and American Family, that's what the guy who hit me had, they would have to pay him back, but they're all in bed together, And so now here's the only other option I have. Well, first of all, if I continue to deny the settlement, eventually they're going to take away my rental car. They're going to start charging me storage for the car sitting there. So that's their way of trying to make you finish this business. But what I can do is I can pay out of my own pocket around $400 for my own adjuster or my own evaluator or whatever to go out and decide how much the car is worth. I could hire my own person to do that. And then they hire another person and then they come to an agreement, right? So I can go through that whole thing. The only other option that I have is I can try to go through American Family, which is what I'm doing now. So I have Allstate. I went through Allstate at first. They gave me their number. American Family pays them back. Or now I can do what I did with my first accident, and I can say, fuck you, Allstate. Delete this claim. I'm just going to go through American Family. And so American Family now on Wednesday is sending out their adjuster to figure out what they think the car is worth. And then they're going to let me know. And I'm supposed to know in a couple of days. And if their number is better, then I just go through them. But it's probably going to be pretty much the same. You know, they told me that. But it's just such bullshit. Now watch this. I'm going to go buy a new car tomorrow. And then they're going to tell me, like, they don't think my car's totaled and they'll fix it. Wouldn't that just be the thing, right? But no, I mean, I'm pretty sure it's not. They're not going to say it's worth more than $8,129 or whatever. But minus, like, the cost of scrap. Because, like, they'll get something for the scrap. Like, I was telling the one guy, I'm like, so, Seth, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go with my car. I'm going to go rip a seat out. I'm going to take the tires off. I'm going to get the donut out of the back. And he's like, well, no, because we're paying you for all those things. But there is a full tank of gas. And I told the guy at the body shop, I'm like, they called me to see if they could release the car. And I was like, fuck no, that car is still in my name. And I have not settled with them. You leave that right there. And I was like, there's a full tank of gas in that tank. And someone is going to use that gas. And I have half a mind to go siphon it out of there. Because that's my gas. You know, if I knew how to siphon gas and I had a tank and the right mind to do it, I'd go get my gas. But it's probably not worth the trouble. If anybody is in East Dundee, Illinois, and wants a tank of gas and you want to siphon it out of there, I'll tell you where the car is. But holy shit. So anyway, now I just wait. But now, the other thing that I have to deal with is, here's the thing, guys. I'm not going to buy another used car. I don't fucking trust it. Okay? I like old used things if I'm the one who made it old and used. I was rocking my iPhone 5 forever until I finally dropped it bad enough that it broke, and I had to get a new one, but then I got the newest one, and that's kind of how I am with things. I would have driven blue for 10 more years, but I'm not going to go get somebody else's piece of shit 2012 Civic, because then when stuff starts going wrong with it, I don't know if that's because of how they treated it, whereas I know that I treated blue well. So now I get to dig into my savings and have a car payment, because I'm going to go buy a new Civic, which is going to be a blue 2-door Civic, just like what I had, but the new version. And this one better last me a fucking ton longer than the last one did. It better. But with as much as I drive and where I drive, I can't say that it will. And now I'm really going to have to look into insurance policies. And if my parents don't want to up the policy at all, like, I'm going to have to probably just get on my own. I don't know. I do know I'm getting a dash cam. I do know that now I have to prepare to haggle a car tomorrow. And I went on Friday. I talked to the sales guy. I knew what I wanted. They didn't have it on the lot because I wanted 2019 because it has all these features that the 2018 doesn't have. And he was like, well, we don't even have any of those in yet. I don't know if we're going to be able to get one. I don't know when it could be. I'll call you on Monday. Today is Monday. He calls in the morning. Then he's texting me all day long, like saying, like, you know, oh, I think we're getting one in by the end of the week. And I'm like, okay. I know that they want to sell their cars by the end of the month because they get big bonuses if they do that. So I'm like, okay, maybe I could come in tomorrow. He's like, oh, I can't do it tomorrow. How about Wednesday? Well, then I wait because I'm talking to my mom because if my mom's going to sign the title with me, she needs to be available to come out there and do that. And she can't do Wednesday. And then the guy's texting like, never mind, I can do it tomorrow. And then like a little later, he's like, oh, I just heard we might get the car tomorrow. And then he texts me a little later. He's like, we got the car. It's here now. And I'm like, okay. Like, I think they know that if they have it there, maybe I'm more likely to buy it. But I don't feel like that's actually true. But I think maybe they think that. But I was all day just researching, you know, how much below MSRP you should expect to pay for things and all of this and doing some calculations and running some numbers. But I actually had Josh go with me on Friday just as a friend, just to be there, help me car shop. And he was like very impressed, he said, he's like, I didn't know, like, you know, knowing you, I didn't I didn't know you could haggle like that. He's like, I would have taken the guy's deal. And he's like, and you were just stone cold. You walked away. I'm like, yeah. I mean, this is a huge purchase and it's a lot of money. And I didn't feel like I was getting a fair deal. So we left. But now I'm going back tomorrow to talk numbers again. And I'm going by myself. I almost feel like I would maybe look weaker if I had to bring like my emotional support Josh with me again. You know, so I'm just gonna go in there and lay it down like it is, but I have to be prepared to walk away if they don't give me the number that I want, even though they got the car for me. And so wish me luck with that. But if I buy the new car tomorrow, and then the fucking American family calls me and tells me that they don't think that my car is totaled, that they would fix it, I'm gonna fucking freak out. Holy shit. Can you just imagine? Can you just fucking imagine? But hopefully, I mean, it's looking like maybe at this point by the end of this week, this could all be over, except it won't really be over because A, I will miss Blue, and I almost feel like I'm going to feel guilty being excited about a new car. You know, kind of like if your pet dies and like the next day you buy a new pet and like I feel wrong about it. Like I need a car, but it feels wrong. And I know that's just the emotion side of it. But I also, and I'm going to tell the salesman this, I'm going to tell him, I'm going to be like, look, I need to feel good about this because I have had a shit couple of weeks. If anybody deserves some empathy points, it's me. And this is the same dealership, you know, so I'm a loyal customer. I got my parents to buy a Honda after I did. I always did all of my service there. I deserve some points for that. But I need this to be the silver lining of this whole experience. I need to feel good about this part of it because the accident and all of that is terrible. The fighting with the insurance company is terrible. The anxiety is terrible. But I would love to walk out of this dealership with a smile on my face. But that's not going to happen unless I feel like I got a good deal. One, that makes me feel like you appreciate me as a repeat customer and someone who gets all my service here and all of that. And I want to feel appreciated. I also want to feel like I would not get a better deal if I was a man because I am a single woman in here. And, you know, I'll tell the salesman, I don't think, you know, anything against you. And I don't feel like you're like this, but I feel like the nature of it is that as a woman in here trying to haggle a price, you know, I don't want to walk out of here wondering if a man might have gotten a better deal. I don't want to walk out of here wondering if I paid too much. I want to feel good about this, and I know you want me to feel good about this too. So in order to feel good about this, I'm going to need this price right here, you know, and we'll see how it goes. What do you guys think of my pitch? I just need to be prepared to have my number and stick with it. You know, I need to be strong. But these salespeople do this all day long. They know how to work it. And just to make matters a little more crazy, like literally in the cubicle next to this guy is one of my sister's ex-boyfriends who also sells cars there. So if like he's there, I'm going to be like, this is weird. But just wish me luck. I mean, I have felt like the anxiety has started to manifest physically, which is a common thing with me. Just like, you know, when I was going through the stress of Bronx, my old dog dying and also getting divorced, that's when my Graves' disease came on because my body very much responds to stress. And so as I was sitting at the dealership Friday, I felt fine. Mentally, I was fine, but my ears started burning and they were bright red. And then I got a migraine and I went home and I had a temperature and then it went away. But it's weird how my body reacts to all of this. But my stomach has just been so sick. I've just been sick. Hey, baby, how are you? I've just been sick to my stomach since this happened. And it's just, I thought the worst day of it would be the day that I got hit. But I thought, you know, worst case scenario, I get a rental car, I'm in it until they fix my car, and that's it. I did not see this coming. I really didn't think she would be totaled. I really didn't think I would have to fight about the value, and it's just awful. So that's my story so far. I know that all the advice is well-meaning, but unless you've been through this, I just don't, it's just, I would have never thought, you know, but I have checked into all of the options that I have, and life just sucks. Even when you didn't do anything, some fucking kid just ran into you. So yeah. Anyway, that's all for now. you know, there's really just no general life updates. Everything is kind of the same, and then this happened. So, you know, if there is anything else to talk about, I'll be back. So, you know, I always poke my head in over on this channel every once in a while, but you can always find me over on my BBW channel. Thanks for watching, guys. I'll see you later, and thanks again for your support. Bye.